Here from the second-ranked running back down to 10.
Well, this is the thing. You know, the number one ability, Colleen, you know what it is?
Availability.
He hadn't been available in 2 years. So how can I put you in the top 5 when you're on the field? He's, the best player out there. Catches the ball, everything. But 2 years, he's missed, 23 games. And so, to me, he has to stay available. He has to stay healthy. He has to be able to play a full season to get back up in that list. Now, I have him at 10 because when he did play last year, he had 100, almost 100 rushing, 100 receiving multiple times. So, to me, he's still talented. But like I tell the kids that I coach, like I tell all the people that we try to inform here, you can't help me if you're not on the field. And he hasn't been on the field in almost 2 years.
The Panthers really need him this year, too, especially to play a huge role in that offense. You all right over there?
It's a bee almost got me. If I get stung by a bee, it's over.
We need you available on this show.
Exactly.
Okay?
I can't talk about availability, get stung, and then I swell up.
All right, let's talk about Ezekiel Elliott. He made the top 5, and he went from last year, he was ranked 6th, and now he's at 5.
Well, I think a lot of people are down on Elliott for some reason. And to me, he's still the guy that he was as a rookie, right? People are like, he's not as explosive. Well, that's because teams are clouding the box, and they're all over him. He's been playing through injuries. Now, there's a difference between Christian McCaffrey, who's missed games because of injury, and Ezekiel Elliott, who's still playing with a hurt knee or a hurt shoulder or whatever it might have been. And to me, it's what he does without the ball. That's special, the way he blocks, what he does in the passing game, catching the ball as well. I think you'll see a different Elliott this year. I think his carries will continue to stay the way they are. And then when you hear Jerry Jones come out and say, we still need to run our offense through Ezekiel Elliott, lets me know that he's going to be that guy.
Well, you know that Jerry Jones loves him. This offense, it just works when Ezekiel Elliott is out there and working for them. But I do want to show this stat. Let's throw up this board from Next Gen Stats, just comparing Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott in stacked boxes, and you can see the numbers right here. Ezekiel Elliott with more carries and, about the same amount of yards there, but the yards per carry is where Tony Pollard really shines, 4.9 yards per carry. And I know Ezekiel Elliott...
being petty? Do you want me to respond to this?
You know I love being petty.
Okay, I'm going to respond to this, Colleen.
Okay.
When I was in Jacksonville, I was the second guy. Are we going to Oxnard?
Well, we're going to Oxnard, and we're bringing Kayla Burton in. But I do want to hear the story.
So I'm going to tell you. So when in Jacksonville, I was the second guy. Fred Taylor was the first guy. And I was balling. Yards per carry were like at 5. Okay. 6 at one point. I was going crazy. But I realized when you're the second guy, teams aren't game planning for you, right? So Fred was still doing his thing, but his yards per carry weren't as high. When I became the man and they started game planning for me, that yards went down.
Went way down.
It went not way down. It didn't go way down. It just went down a little bit.
I almost got you there.
The man. Never, can't get got.
Kayla, take us out of here for a second. Take us away from this conversation. I do want to stay, though, on the running backs. Exactly. I have no idea. But Ezekiel Elliott playing through that PCL last year, I'm sure they expect bigger things from him this year now that he is healthier.
Yeah, 100%. MJD, if we're talking about the guy, Zeke is the guy here. At least that's something owner Jerry Jones, as you guys mentioned, made very clear. He said that he has to be the focus of this offense. But what's exciting for this offensive team, we know what's not exciting is that James Washington, he went down with an injury just earlier in the week. So that opens up these younger receivers to step up. And one of them being now Tony Pollard. If you think back to his final year in Memphis, his primary position was at receiver, and he is really focusing on that during this training camp. It was head coach Mike McCarthy who said that the bulk of his workload has been at the receiver position. A lot of the alignments and the assignments have been that in the spring, and I'm seeing it out here, and they're really mixing it up here between the different carries in the backfield and who is lining up at the receiver position. And Tony Pollard, I can tell you right now, just on 11 on 11s, Dak Prescott hit him twice. He threw an interception the very first possession here on 11s, and then he found Pollard driving it right down the field here. So that's going to be a huge weapon for this team, and he's excited about it. Pollard was saying, man, having Zeke both on at the same time, it's going to be a huge combo here. And if we can get back to me, I don't know, I'm not one to, take the camera or anything, but I got a friend here. My guy. We have a new co-host. I even had, Rowdy is in the house. I had a makeup brush for you. But what do you have to say about this team? Because I'm going to get the first mascot to ever talk on television. How do we think? Not for they're going to make a run in the playoffs after getting the playoffs for a second consecutive year or a consecutive year. It's a yes. How did we think about the 11-on-11s? No or yes? Okay. I mean, we're a little biased over here, but that's what we got. You banged my head, Roddy.
Kayla asking for her single, that came from the MJD School of Broadcasting, and I love it. Like, MJD, you're teaching us all how to really shine.
If you want, listen, you have to believe in yourself first, Kayla, and I appreciate you for that. And you tell Rowdy to stay off your back because you're working, right? He should be tending to the crowd there. But as we're looking at the Cowboys, I think the biggest thing is what she talked about, Pollard playing receiver. That's what he was at Memphis. He was kind of a dual threat guy. And like I said before, he's going to get his touches, and people aren't game planning for him because, again, you have the game players, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Dalton Schultz. So you have a lot of guys, Michael Gallup, right? And so he's going to come in, he's going to make plays, and he has to continue to be that explosive playmaker when he gets his opportunities. I like the Cowboys here this year. I think the Cowboys have a great chance to do something special, but they have to stay healthy, and they have to protect Dak Prescott.
Yeah, this is an offense that they have to get back to being more balanced, especially to make up for that loss of Amari Cooper. And I mean, you look at what they have, especially with James Washington going dip, and MJD has informed me that his Super Bowl ring is on the way. Will be delivered on a silver platter. I assume that's how it's always delivered. I'm here, Colleen Wolfe, with MJD and Tom Pelissero, as we are watching the Rams just starting practice out here in front of about 9,000 fans. This was a big offseason, coming off a huge season. They brought in Allen Robinson from Chicago and Bobby Wagner for the defense, but a lot of people a little concerned. Should they be concerned about Matthew Stafford and his elbow? Because we did see him throwing a little bit out here. We saw him throwing on Thursday, too.
No, I personally wouldn't be concerned. There was a time last year where Stafford didn't even come out to warm up before games, right? And so when you talk about his elbow injury, he's played football, 14 years, 15 years?
A lot of injuries.
A lot of injuries, a lot of throws, a lot of yards, a lot of hits. Those things are going to happen. And he's a professional, and he's a veteran, so he understands what it takes to get his body ready. Got a chance to talk to him the last time we were here for NFL Network. He's very excited about this year, going to year 2 of a system that he'll have more of a grasp of. And he also has other weapons. And so, to me, I know there's always going to be a lot made when you win this championship, right, Tom? And you get your rings, and Von Miller leaves, and Andrew Whitworth retires, and you pay Joe Noboom and all this. And they're trying to figure out what's wrong. What's negative going to happen? We don't live in negativity here, Tom. We live in Super Bowl champion positivity.
Wow.
Until week 1, we're always
going to keep hitting that over the head, aren't you?
You're
not going to let it go.
I'm just being honest. It's all positivity here. Can you feel the energy?
I'm feeling it now, yeah, for sure.
You didn't feel it
Good
before?
energy. No, I mean, yeah, a little bit.
Listen, it's an unusual injury, unusual football injury for Matthew Stafford. Thrower's elbow. It's more of a thing that you see in baseball. We go back to last year. Dak Prescott also had a highly unusual football injury, a lat strain that's much more often suffered by pitchers in baseball.
Right.
So it's going to be a management issue. We did just see Stafford out here throwing the ball back and forth, nothing particularly strenuous. We'll see what, if anything, he participates when you start getting into some of the competitive drills. But again, Matthew Stafford knows his body. He has played through a ton. He's taken a lot of hits through the course of his career. He knows how to get himself ready. I do think he brought up another good point. As we talk about the additions and adding Allen Robinson, adding to Bobby Wagner, but you have attrition with this team too. Von Miller was a big piece of this team.
Huge piece.
Down the stretch, the Rams tried to re-sign him, but the Bills just kept going higher and higher with their offer, and ultimately Von decided he'd rather go to Buffalo than stay here in L.A.
Listen, for 120, Buffalo would be Costa Rica to me, too. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest.
He was going to get paid pretty well here by the Rams as well. Buffalo kept pushing on that, but Robert Woods gets traded away, of course. You mentioned Andrew Whitworth retired, so you've got some moving parts, and that's commonplace in the NFL. The difference here, of course, with the Rams is because of how Les Snead uses those draft picks to go acquire veteran talent. Your top draft pick is an offensive lineman you drafted in the 3rd round. You're not looking always at instant impact from those guys.
And it is an interesting point, too, just replacing Von Miller. And we're going to talk to, hopefully, Leonard Floyd coming up at some point today after practice. We'll also talk to Cooper Kupp as well. I'd love to hear what he thinks about the addition of Allen Robinson coming over from Chicago. So plenty more to go here.